All right, welcome everybody. We have a lot of things to discuss. Very, very much glad that you're joining me. Kind of just wrapping up the week. A bunch of things did happen in the last 24 hours, some of which we got to on today's podcast, which went out about an hour ago, and many things that didn't. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to talk about other things that are going on. But the big news is that Donald Trump yesterday, as we were just wrapping yesterday's stream, delivered this video which was really one of the most pathetic sort of concessions. But it really is a concession in that Trump is now saying in completely certain terms, there will be a transition. And there were some sort of like Q people and other conspiracy theorists who were saying, Trump doesn't really say transition to Biden. But the reason Trump doesn't say that isn't because he has some secret plan to stay. It's because he just can't be an adult and mention Joe Biden beat me. And we have subsequently learned. So the story is, starting with this video last night, this is as close to a concession as we're going to get from anybody. Thanks, David Chadman, for the 10 gifted, by the way. Then Donald Trump tweeted again more sort of allusions to the election being stolen. Then Trump tweeted he will not be going to Joe Biden's inauguration. Then Joe Biden said that's fine. And then Nancy Pelosi said that they're looking at impeaching Trump if he doesn't resign. And indeed, we may be seeing a second Donald Trump impeachment. I believe Trump would be the only president to be impeached twice, right? Is that, I guess I should have Googled that. Has any president been impeached twice? No president has been impeached twice. So that is correct. Yeah. All right. So we may be heading to that. And I know that I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but there's already people saying there's no point in impeaching him twice and it would be divisive, so it shouldn't be done. I think that's a terrible argument, but I have clips planned for that, so I don't want to jump into that right away. Okay. Chakaseki's pointing out via Super Chat that Trump's concession video demonstrates multiple camera angles and cuts, likely because it was interrupted by tantrums as he begged for chicken tenders. I don't know that it was begging for chicken tenders, and I don't know that it was tantrums, but clearly it was pieced together from multiple takes. And his frustration with the fact that he was doing this, it may be part of it. The report is that the reason, we're going to look at the video. I know this is a big lead up. The reason that this is a big deal, and the reason that he even did this, is reportedly because he was told, if you don't do something like this, you're going to get removed, either by the 25th Amendment or in some other way. Although then there were conflicting reports that Pence has not actually spoken to cabinet members about the 25th Amendment. And then there were conflicting reports that Pence did speak with cabinet members, but said he wouldn't go for the 25th Amendment. What's the truth? We don't know. Conflicting reports as of this point in time. So let's go chronologically if we can. Let me make sure we're going to have be all set up in terms of volume. All right, let's listen.
By addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem.
That apparently is not true. Trump apparently loved it and even resisted bringing in the National Guard. He loved the mayhem and he loved the violence from the reports we've gotten so far.
I immediately deployed the National Guard.
That apparently is also a lie. The reports are that Trump resisted deploying the National Guard against his own supporters, and it was Mike Pence that ultimately made that call. So far, we're 14 seconds in, at least 3 probable lies.
And federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order.
Right, but so he keeps repeating that, but he clearly doesn't mean it.
The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy.
That's true.
To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
I hope that that's the case.
We have just been through an intense election and emotions are high, but now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest
even some that are dubiously legal.
The election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting.
That's obviously a lie. His goal, as evidenced by everything we saw, including asking the Georgia Republican officials to find 11,000 votes, his priority was to find enough votes so that he would win.
To defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th.
Now that's where what's really going on there is Trump can't bring himself to say President-elect Joe Biden's administration. That's why he's not saying Joe Biden. There are Trumpian folks who are interpreting Trump saying a new administration will be sworn in as code for my new administration. But that's obviously not going to be the case. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power.
Now, what's funny about that is he's now being called presidential for saying that, but it's January 8th. Right. We're almost 9 weeks into doing the opposite of ensuring an orderly and peaceful transition. This is sort of like, what was the analogy I saw? There was such a great analogy to, they're abandoning the ship. Some of his followers, some of his cabinet members and others, they're abandoning the ship with 12 days to go. I forget what the analogy was. It was, if I remember it, I'll come back to it.
This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together.
That's funny because Trump claims to have already rebuilt the economy.
It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty.
So this is all kind of just meaningless, disingenuous stuff
that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
So this is, I don't know if you want to call this a hostage video. Thanks for the 10 gifted, by the way, David Chadman. I appreciate that. Is this a hostage video? Is this a I don't want to be removed video? But as far as we've been told, Donald Trump reluctantly did this. And of course, it's all disingenuous because he was convinced you really may be removed before January 20th if you don't do something like this. As Albert is pointing out, it feels like a toddler being forced to apologize. And people want to see the tweets. Yeah, so we're going to get to that. I'm being told the Justin Trudeau Trump statement is important, so we're going to look at that momentarily. Let me see if I filter by upload date. Yep. Okay, here it is. So we're going to look at that momentarily. But okay, so let's go through the sequel of this. And I am determined not to fall behind on thank you. So big thank you to the 33 Twitch subscribers. 33. That's very strong. And also thanks to the 4 subscribers at joinpacman.com. 4 people. And you know what? Since it's only 4, I'll be able to thank them by name. Thanks to Josh Smithson, Tucker Carlson. No, I'm kidding. Tucker Bergantino, Haley Martinez, and Lynn Prince. I appreciate that. Okay, so Trump first does that very strange video. Then, after posting that, he tweets this morning more of what I call agit trash. The 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first, and make America great again, will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. Okay, who I don't even, whatever, who even knows what the meaning of that is. But then more importantly, Donald Trump tweeting, to all of those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration of January 20th. And so this is, of course, very unpresidential, but I don't care. We really don't need him there. We've already scheduled our coverage of Joe Biden's inauguration on January 20th. It's like good. And the latest reporting is that the first family is actually planning to leave Washington, D.C. on January 19th, not even going to stick around for Inauguration Day. Okay, so that's the latest. Now, after that, we got a report that Nancy Pelosi is threatening impeachment if Donald Trump doesn't resign immediately. We may be getting in the direction of an express impeachment. You know how you can get, now they have some kinds of plastic surgery you can get during your lunch break and you go back to work. So I've read anyway. The House could vote on impeachment next week. We may see, facelift express. We may see an impeachment express here. The House could vote on impeachment next week. President Trump will not attend President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Let's look at that article. Speaker Nancy Pelosi threatened that the House could move to impeach Trump over his role in inciting a violent mob attack on the Capitol if he did not resign immediately, appealing to Republicans to join the push to force him from office. In a letter to members of the House, the Speaker invoked the resignation of Richard Nixon amid the Watergate scandal when Republicans prevailed upon the president to resign and avoid the ignominy of an impeachment, calling Mr. Trump's actions a horrific assault on our democracy. Today, following the president's dangerous and seditious acts, Republicans in Congress need to follow that example and call on Trump to depart his office immediately. If the president does not leave office imminently and willingly, the Congress will proceed with our action. So that would be it would be fantastic to see Donald Trump impeached a second time. I will get to the objection that it would be divisive. I think that's a terrible justification for not doing it, but we will get to that. Pelosi also said she had spoken with General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, about preventing an unstable president from initiating military hostilities or accessing the launch codes. Also an important concern. A spokesman for Milley confirmed that the two had spoken and said the general answered her questions regarding the process of nuclear command authority. My belief is, if for whatever, I don't believe Trump will do it. It's absurd that Trump is too much of a loose cannon to post to Facebook, but he has the nuke codes. But I don't believe that Trump will actually try to launch nukes. I also believe if he did, that at this point in time, the highest levels of the military understand that this is an unstable person, and I don't even think they would allow nukes to be launched. I don't think it's going to be an issue. And then, we'll get to that a little bit later. So I don't want to jump ahead of where we are. Okay, so that's basically what's happened over the last 24 hours. Now, I want to get to Joe Biden's reaction to this. Oh, I should answer some questions first. I should answer some questions before I move on, because once I get into this, it's going to be a pretty deep dive. David, your broadcast is super blurry. Both your face and the content are unreadable. Never happened to me before. Yeah, everything's fine. I would just refresh. But we're broadcasting in HD and everything's going fine. Trump stops short of conceding and ends the speech with, "It's only just the beginning." He has a scheme in mind and it's probably a crazy one. Maybe, but he'll be gone on the 20th. That's it. Question, David, how do you combat the unwillingness to so much as discuss toxicity within the left that alienates radicalized people towards the right? I talk about toxicity within the left all the time. I've not stopped short of that. Yeah, so I don't know. You'd have to talk to somebody who is stopping short of that. But I am not. I am not stopping short of that. Okay, let's continue. Joe Biden did react to the news that Donald Trump will not be attending the inauguration. Oh, wait, what's this? What is this?
You're a liar.
Oh, is this Lindsey Graham getting confronted at the airport? Oh my God. Is this TSA having to protect him? Oh no, that looks like Customs and Border Patrol. Yeah, customs. These are anti-Trump people, right? People are saying, how are these Trump nuts allowed? It seems to me these are anti-Trump people berating Lindsey Graham. Oh, these are Trumpers. Oh. These are Trumpers that are mad at Lindsey Graham because he eventually accepted that Joe Biden won. Is that what this is going? Is that what's happening here? They're pro. Okay, yeah. Okay, fair. I understand. Lindsey didn't do enough for. I see. So it's actually even crazier because Lindsey Graham is out of his mind. Wow, eaten alive by the monster he helped create. That's amazing. Okay, so let's see. I want to get to the Joe Biden statement about. Okay, here is Biden. Okay, here are the two clips. Okay, let's take a listen to this. This is the first one. Biden reacting to Trump won't go to his inauguration.
That on the way up here, way over here, that he indicated he wasn't going to show up at the inauguration. One of the few things he and I have ever agreed on.
Oh, that's good.
Good thing I'm not showing up.
Earlier, you'd said that if you'd hope that he would show up only in the sense that it was valuable to send a signal to the world about the transfer of power. You've clearly changed your perspective on that.
Because he has clearly demonstrated, he's exceeded even my worst notions about him.
Right.
He's been an embarrassment to the country, embarrassed us around the world, not worthy to hold that office. If we were 6 months out, we should be moving everything to get him out of office, impeaching him again, trying to invoke the 25th Amendment, whatever it took to get him out of office.
Wow, nice.
But I am focused now on us taking control as president and vice president on the 20th. And to get our agenda moving as quickly as we can.
So Biden thinks it's good that Trump won't be going to the inauguration. I quite frankly agree it'll just be a distraction. And then asked about the possibility of Mike Pence going, says that's fine.
And that it's a good thing that the president is not coming. But what about the vice president, Mike Pence?
He's welcome. I think it's important that as much as we can stick to what have been the historical precedents of how and the circumstances in which an administration changes should be maintained.
You know, one of the things I don't want to get, we'll continue. One of the things that's very interesting about Joe Biden is he's actually better at speaking extemporaneously in answering questions. As many of you know, Joe Biden has struggled with a stutter since he was young. And that seems to manifest more when he's reading a written speech. This is really where Joe Biden is best from my perspective, where he's just talking and responding to questions at what tends to be more length than what we've seen from the Trump administration.
And so if the vice president is welcome to come, we'd be honored to have him there and to move forward in the transition.
Have you spoken to him at all?
No, I haven't.
Wow, that's a clear answer. And then lastly, here is Donald Trump being called not fit to serve by Joe Biden during this question and answer session earlier today, which I found quite interesting.
Pick up on something that you just said about President Trump actively encouraging the insurrection at the Capitol. Given the perceived threat that he poses, my question to you is not so much about the role that Congress should play in impeachment, but rather, should President Trump, in your estimation, remain in office?
I didn't think, look, I've been saying for now well over a year, he is not fit to serve. He is not fit to serve. He's one of the most incompetent presidents in the history of the United States of America. And so the idea that I think he shouldn't be out of office yesterday is not the issue. The question is, what happens with 14 days left to go or 13 days left to go? And I think that what 81 million people stood up and said, it's time for him to go. And the United States Senate voted 93-6 to confirm that we should be sworn in. We were duly elected. So I think it's important we get on with the business, getting him out of office.
And then this also came up earlier, and let me get to that clip because I don't actually think this is a great, let me see here. Yeah, okay, here it is. So I'm going to play Chris Wallace making this point because a lot of people have been making it. This is a point about the possible impeachment of Trump or removal under the 25th.
From what I hear from Republicans on the Hill, people in the White House, they feel that any kind of removal at this point would probably create more harm, more outrage than it would damp down, that it would solve. Obviously, there are millions of people who supported Donald Trump. There are hundreds.
I think this is a bad reason not to do it. So I don't have a problem with considering the pragmatic effect of our actions, right? So it's not that I think we should ignore the consequences of an action. You consider the consequences of an action in determining whether it's the right action or the wrong action. It's not, you consider the means and you evaluate the ends and you think about it all. This is not one of those things where we say, listen, most presidents don't deserve to be removed. Most presidents don't deserve to be impeached. Most presidents, even if you disagree with them politically, are not fundamentally unfit to serve. Right? So for me, it is not a good argument to say, well, a president, sure, yeah, what he did deserves impeachment, but there's only 14 days left and some people might get mad. It might be divisive. No. It's too big an issue. It's too important. It has to be that when a president deserves to be impeached, they are impeached. It must be that when a president is unfit to serve, they must be removed via the 25th Amendment. And so now saying, oh, it would be divisive and he's leaving anyway. It's a calculation. You account for the consequences and the impact. I think this is a bad reason. I think this would be a very bad reason not to do it. That's my perspective. And I'm fine hearing from others. And I also see the idea that if you do it, you make Trump a martyr. Nah, he's already a martyr. The tens of millions of people who believe he really won and that it was stolen, they already see him as a martyr. So that's not compelling to me, I think is the point that I'm trying to make. Okay. So that's as far as the clips go. Those clips. Let me see what else I had. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's this other thing where in the midst of all of this, Simon & Schuster has decided not to go forward with a book by Senator Josh Hawley. And Josh Hawley is one of the main, he was like sort of I believe he was the first Republican senator who said he would actually object to the ballot count. And now Simon & Schuster, Republicans are against business regulation. Simon & Schuster, as a business free to decide what's good for them, said, we don't want to do a book for this guy. And this has now become, the free speech battle. Take a listen to this from Fox News.
Your reaction?
Yeah, so I disagree with him a little bit here, and here's why. First of all, the First Amendment involves the government prohibiting speech. This is not a First Amendment issue. This is a private company.
That's right.
Simon & Schuster, whether you agree with the decision or not.
This is like, we finally have some sense talked on Fox News. And you can see these other five people, particularly Brian Kilmeade, looks like he's had some bad clams as he hears this.
Simon & Schuster is a private company, and they can decide at any point that they want to stop and they don't want to go through. And for example, Ainsley, this is a way to look at it. If I were in the midst of a deal and I had a publishing deal and I got on TV today and said something outrageous, racist, whatever it may be, a publishing company can give me a call and contractually say, we don't want to put money and blood, sweat, and tears into your book. We don't want to back it. That's well within their right. I also think, I know that the impulse is to say,
by the way, don't I have a right to have Simon & Schuster publish my book? Is that not censorship if they don't publish my book?
This is Orwellian, but for me, it's actually the opposite. It's Orwellian to think that anyone would be able to tell a private company that they need to. It's
these Republicans who for decades have said we can't be telling private companies what to do. That's oppressive. I've never heard commentary this good on Fox News. It would be Orwellian to go and tell Simon Schuster, you can't bail on Josh Hawley's stupid book.
Publish your book or it's a First Amendment violation. So I think he has this wrong. And I'm taking aside what I believe was atrocious behavior on his part with respect to the election. This isn't about.
Now, I see people in the chat saying this is the same thing the NFL did over Colin Kaepernick. That's right. It's true. But what you have to understand is we as consumers are also part of the free market of ideas. So what I'm saying is Simon & Schuster is completely free to back out of this. And if we are mad at Simon & Schuster, if we believe what Simon & Schuster did is really bad, we can say, hey, we're going to boycott Simon & Schuster's books. We're going to punish Simon & Schuster because we wanted them to publish Josh Hawley's book. We're going to punish them. The NFL, the problem I have with what the NFL did is that there appears to have been collusion between teams for no one to go ahead and hire Colin Kaepernick. And that's a disaster. We can't deny that any team individually can say, we don't want Colin Kaepernick on our team because we've made a business decision that his kneeling and his activism is bad for. They can do that. The collusion between owners is what I have a problem with from the standpoint of the NFL. But again, there's also a consumer reaction. Consumers can say, if we don't agree with what the NFL teams did, then we can boycott them. Now, of course, when the team owners are colluding, you're talking about something else. And you could make the argument that that's all that to some degree that could almost be like price fixing in a sense. And it gets a little more complicated. But we have to be consistent with this stuff. And that's the thing with these right ways. It's not that difficult to actually figure out what the consistent position is. Okay, so that's Fox News. And just one other. All of a sudden, Fox News is all about feelings. We are disheartened. We are upset. And Ainsley Earhardt continues to play this thing about just the way all of these Trumpists are feeling. It's like, what? How do you think everybody else felt when they stormed the Capitol violently?
You know, there are 75 million people that voted for President Trump, and they're scared. They're worried about what the future of this country looks like.
Give me a break.
Many of them.
They're confused.
They are. They're confused. They're heartbroken that their candidate didn't win, and they don't want to be forgotten. And Tucker Carlson really hit home with this last night. Listen.
Okay, and then last thing here, and we're going to get to some of Tucker's stuff. This Aaron Rupar pointed this out. Fox News is doing this thing now. Ainsley Earhardt just did it, and Trace Gallagher did it with, I think this is Howie Kurtz. Fox News, do we even want to do this right now? I don't even know if we want to do this. I'll do a brief version of it because there's such a bigger story here. One of the things Fox News has done for a long time is claim that they have an opinion side and a news side. Okay. People are saying to do it and some people are saying not to do this. So Fox News says, listen, we have an opinion side and a news side. They must be evaluated separately. On the opinion side, people have opinions and we have some right-wing people there, but the news side is simply news. And one of the things Fox News has done for a really long time is blur the lines between that. They'll have their opinion people on the news shows to give their opinion, but it really looks like news. And they deliberately blur the lines between what's news and what's opinion. And of course, because of the media literacy deficit we have in this country, a lot of people don't realize it. This is something else they do, which is they take the opinion stuff and during the news hours, they report it as if it becomes news. Hey, here is a news report. The opinion person said the following. And that's what they do here. This is America's newsroom reporting on Tucker blasting the media's obsession with Trump. So again, this is another thing where if we had, stronger media literacy infrastructure in this country, people wouldn't fall for this stuff. And I think that that's really important to know. Okay, very good. We're going to go to the Trudeau video next. I do want to say thank you to the 3 additional Twitch subscribers, and they are Step 1212 Step signing up from Germany. I appreciate that. The Classy Crane, and some of the gifts coming in still from David Chadman. I appreciate that very much. And then also want to say thank you over on our website to Simon McGrath for signing up at joinpacman.com, Jonathan Barentine, Randy Miller, Austin Delp, Maxwell Solomon, and Daniel Guo, which puts us at 46. I very much appreciate that. And yes, the coupon code works. I realized that there was a sort of a mismatch in coupon codes in different places. The 2021 coupon code is that one, Better21. Okay, so let's get to the Trudeau. Actually, do you want me to do... Oh, that's funny. So some people are asking for repeater voicemails. You might find this funny. Since Democrats won the Senate and the armed insurrection, I haven't received one voicemail from repeater. Over the last 2-3 weeks, I received over 100 voicemails from repeater, and I've not heard. He's just disappeared since Democrats won Georgia and the armed insurrection. I don't know if I will ever hear from him again, but I'm looking at the voicemail right now. Yeah, nothing, just nothing from repeater. Oh, wait a second. Oh, no. I got one. This van I've lost. It's over with. Hold on. This might be repeater. Let me see here. Whoops, that's muted. Hold on. Sorry. I might have one repeater signing off.
This is Van. I've left.
It's the same area code. Sorry. No, it's not repeater. Yeah, we have not heard anything from repeater since Democrats won everything. So that's that. Okay. All right. Let's go to the Justin Trudeau video. This is Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I would say let's do the French one. I love how he does most of these in French and then does another cut in English. But just for today, we'll stick with the English one.
To begin by addressing what unfolded in Washington, D.C. this week. What we witnessed was an assault on democracy by violent rioters, incited by the current president.
Is one of these sign language interpreters, is one doing American Sign Language and the other is French? This is very interesting. I've never seen simultaneous. That's very interesting. French and English Sign Language. That's compelling. I love that. Okay, here we go. Sorry.
And other politicians. As shocking, deeply disturbing, and frankly, saddening as that event remains, we've also seen this week that democracy is resilient in America, our closest ally and neighbor. Violence has no place in our societies.
I know that this is so irrelevant in the tough times we're facing right now. That beard is really well done. It looks like it fades. I mean, maybe that's genetically how it grows, but it looks like it fades up towards the cheeks and it has the perfect amount of gray right on the chin and absolutely anyway, let's continue.
And extremists will not succeed in overruling the will of the people.
That's right.
As Canadians, I think we've been all reflecting on our own country, something I spoke with the premiers about last night, about the fact that democracy is not automatic. It takes work every day, about what a real accomplishment it is to maintain a political system in which the losing side gracefully concedes and in which rival political parties between elections work together for the common good. We have this in Canada because Canadians make it possible.
That is some shade. That is some serious shade at Trumpists for sure right there. It's almost too subtle for the average Trumpist to understand it, I think. I think that goes over the head of the average Trumpist. It's so subtle.
Canadians expect their political leaders to protect our precious democracy by how we conduct ourselves. We have seen this manifest in unanimous consent in our parliament for our main COVID fighting measures at a time when the government holds a minority of seats. We see it in the cooperation between the federal government and provincial and territorial governments, regardless of political stripe. Canadians expect debate. Debate in service of all Canadians. Debate that is grounded in a shared acceptance of the facts. In a diverse country, there will always be diverse perspectives, and it is through respect for those differences that we create a stronger Canada. Canadian democracy didn't happen by accident, and it won't continue without work. We must always work to secure our democracy and not give comfort to those who promote things that are not true or give space for hatred.
I think that the give space is very important, because when you look at now the rats abandoning the sinking ship, these Republicans who gave the space, that's the exact phrase where even some of them who never said they liked the stuff Trump was doing, they continued to give the space. And I like the use of that term.
Or extremism.
Very, very nice. Whoa, now it's recommending Jordan Peterson content. We're not going to do that. Very, very well said by Justin Trudeau there. I like the statement quite a bit. So thanks for pointing me in that direction. I do appreciate that. Okay, good. I did want to take a brief look at what was happening on, is this Newsmax or OAN? You can't ever tell. This is Newsmax. So no surprise, it sounds like they're still talking about the election being, quote, stolen on Newsmax. They may never go away. They seem to have a panel. Let's just for a second, let's look at what they're talking about.
74 plus million. I would go on to say it's probably 120 million Americans who are questioning the integrity of the election and are questioning the power of their vote.
So this guy's got a 912 was some wacky Glenn Beck affiliated movement years ago. Seeing someone with the 912, the things that concern me here are this guy's sweatshirt, the lower third talking about election integrity, and the expression on this guy's face. Those are the overtly concerning things right now.
They would deal with this problem head on, they would address it, and they would do it in a way that the American people can truly believe that their vote matters.
Last word, Heather.
Yeah, and they don't believe that right now.
Some don't.
Mitt Romney said the best way to respect voters is to tell them the truth. I believe the best way to respect voters is to fix any irregularities, any fraud, any mistakes, human error or otherwise.
Can you
that
imagine?
occur in the elections. It doesn't matter if it's widespread or not. It doesn't matter if it happens in every election. Quit kicking the can down the road. And also the other thing they can do is...
You know, what's funny about that is all of the efforts made and placed in front of Mitch McConnell over the last 4 years to deal with foreign interference in elections, Mitch McConnell just did nothing with. He wouldn't even bring them to the floor of the Senate. So I can't call it disingenuous, because these people may be so ignorant that they don't know that stuff happened. I try to be careful not to assume malice when they might just be ignorant. They may have no idea that it's actually Republicans who have prevented and they've kicked the can down the road. But who knows? Who knows? These people are truly unbelievable. Okay, a few other things. Hold on. Big thank you to the 17 additional Twitch subscribers, which puts us at 57. Very, very much appreciate that. And also a big thanks to Zach Russell for signing up at joinpacman.com, Alana Bryant, Hans Scharler, Ole Joaquim Jerson, I know I butchered that, and Chris Villarreal. Very much appreciate those subscriptions as well, which puts us at 62. And I'll open some phone lines. I'm glad to open phone lines if we get to 100. I think we may. Real quick, one other thing I wanted to play for you guys. We had a fast turnaround on a meme. Yesterday, we got a great caller from Scotland, and I was interested in sort of like the dialect spoken in Scotland. So I asked, how do you refer to what I grew up referring to soda, carbonated beverages? And it was kind of funny. This is just a piece of that. We already have a song parody based on this. So this is from the call yesterday. Let me see if I can. I really want to get an answer here to the question I'm trying to ask, which is, are you familiar with the beverage Sprite?
Yes.
Okay. The category, is Sprite a soda? Is it a pop? Is it a Coke? What is the category under which you would put Sprite?
I would call it like fizzy, I suppose, or like a ginger. I would just call it ginger, right?
Ginger.
I don't know what anyone else would call it. I think we just use it interchangeably. Like I don't know if we differentiate between like pop or soda or fizzy juice or anything like that. We just kind of like throw it into the one kind of category and then just call it ginger, I suppose.
And I want to make sure when you say, are you saying the word that's spelled Ginger? That's the word?
Yes. So ginger hair That's how we refer to it, I suppose. So like,
my mind is blown. I'm not going to lie. My mind is blown. Okay, so anyway, that's already been turned into a song, and I have it for you right here. Take a listen to this. Let's go to Larry from Glasgow.
Hello?
How are you?
Hi, David.
I love phone calls from Scotland.
Scotland?
Yeah, Scotland. Carbonated beverages. Do you call them soda, pop, Coke? What do you call it?
Fizzy juice, or pop, or soda, or Coke ginger, or orange juice.
Orange juice?
We refer to orange as ginger in Scotland.
You call every soda a Coke ginger?
We call that ginger, or fizzy juice.
Fizzy juice? What? You're saying some people call every soda Coke ginger, but you mean orange juice by Coke? What? Okay, anyway, so that's that. All right. So one of the great things, I'm being told that Lisa Murkowski may be leaving the Republican Party, so we're going to get to that in a second. That actually is a major story, but I just want to point out something very, very interesting. One of the great things about, I guess about doing this is that people in the audience feel so strongly in opposition about anything that happens on this show. Okay, here's an example. Will says, David pausing Trudeau's speech to compliment his beard is my favorite part of 2021 so far. Okay. On the other hand, while we did that, Chapa from Argentina says, is this MF seriously going on about Trudeau's beard? Diametrically opposed positions about that. Someone loves it and someone doesn't. And by the way, anytime I see a super chat come in, some of you know I was born in Argentina. 50 Argentinian pesos. It's so tragic what has gone on with the currency in Argentina. As people are pointing out, that's like 50 cents. It's truly tragic what has been going on in Argentina, and people who have not been well served by any recent government. And I mean, listen, now you literally have delusional lunatics back in place. Previously, you had, this wacky center rightist. It's really, really sad. And that's about 50 cents at this point. Actually, let's look up exactly how much it is right now. 50 ARS to USD. 59 cents. Okay, yeah. It's insane what's been going on with the currency there. Alfonsine was decent. That's absolutely true. And I see Sunlight and Leaves in the Twitch chat with some knowledge of Argentinian history. Very, very interesting stuff. I appreciate that. Okay, breaking news. Lisa Murkowski may quit the Republican Party. And of course, if that happens, that puts Democrats in a much stronger position in the Senate. Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski calls on Trump to resign, questions her future as a Republican. A Republican senator demanding the Republican president resign, that has escalated. We have now entered a new, I don't know what to call it, stage in all of this. U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski said Friday that Donald Trump should resign the presidency immediately, and that if the Republican Party cannot separate itself from Trump, she isn't certain she has a future with the party. I want him to resign. I want him out. He has caused enough damage. Wow. I think he should leave. He said he's not going to show up. He's not going to appear at the inauguration. He hasn't been focused on what's going on with COVID. He's either been golfing or he's been inside the Oval Office fuming and throwing every single person who has been loyal and faithful to him under the bus, starting with the vice president. He doesn't want to stay there. He only wants to stay there for the title. He only wants to stay there for his ego. He needs to get out. He needs to do the good thing, but I don't think he's capable of doing a good thing. This is very interesting. Murkowski said that while there may have been many, many, many good Americans who came from who came to D.C. because they felt strongly in support of Trump, Trump incited them to storm the Capitol. That's absolutely true. I will attribute it to the president, who said even after his vice president told him that morning, I do not have the constitutional authority to do what you have asked me to do. I cannot do it. I have to protect and uphold the Constitution. Even after the vice president told President Trump that, he still told his supporters to fight. How are they supposed to take that? It's an order from the president. And so that's what they did. They came up and fought, and people were harmed, injured, and died. Asked whether she intends to remain a Republican, she said that depends on the party. You know, there's a lot of people who actually thought that I did that in 2010. Think that I became an independent. I didn't have any reason to leave my party in 2010. I was a Republican who ran a write-in campaign, and I was successful. But I will tell you, if the Republican Party has become nothing more than the party of Trump, I sincerely question whether this is the party for me. So listen, that's great. But where was she on impeachment? Nothing has changed. We called this the day after Trump was elected in 2016. And we said it would get this bad. And then you had everything that you had in the interim. And now she says, oh, I might become an independent and Trump should go. Where was she on impeachment? She, Lisa Murkowski, much like Susan Collins, is perpetually concerned about what I heard from the president and dismayed or worried. And then she just says, no, we're not going to impeach. And by the way, when she says maybe, when we're talking about independent, that doesn't even necessarily mean it would be a vote for to caucus with Democrats. Bernie is an independent, but he caucuses with the Democrats. So this is very interesting. It's that a Republican senator is calling for a Republican president to resign. It is a big deal, but it's much easier to do it when there's 12 days left. And as people are pointing out, too little, too late, too little, too late. She should leave her office and pay back her salary. I like that. Mr. Wizard. That's a fair, absolutely fair point. Okay, so that we did the Scottish call. We did, I haven't done this yet. So do you want me to go through some super chats, or do we want to hear a C-SPAN caller in tears wondering if Trump lied to her? Where do we want to go? I'm being advised to sell my Bitcoin and my Tesla stock. Let's see. Where are either of them? Where is Bitcoin right now? BTC USD is at 40K. All right. That's nice. Quite a run up. And where is Tesla right now? Whoops. Tesla is up, was up 7% today again. Wow. Yeah, I've been in Tesla since 2015. This doesn't even go that far back. That's crazy. Yeah, I think it was February of 15 that I got into Tesla. Yeah, right around here. It's nuts. I mean, it's crazy what's gone on. It's really unbelievable. And I panic sold half in 17 or 18. When was the thing where Elon Musk smoked pot with Joe Rogan and it looked like maybe he was going to get removed? Was it this dip right here? I don't even remember when that was. But I sold half of it at that point. Obviously, I shouldn't have done that. That was not smart. All right, here we go. Let's take a listen. Apparently, this is a caller in tears over the possibility that Trump might have lied to her. Let's take a listen. Let's make sure we have proper audio. We need proper modulation.
Tammy's in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Tammy. What are your thoughts about today?
I just have one question. I wanted to know if my president lied to me today. And if he did, I want him to tell me. And more importantly, I want him to tell the family of the woman that got shot and killed today.
Wow.
I voted for him. I'm sorry.
Okay. Wow. What an expression. I'm sorry. Excuse me while I do show prep, because since it's Friday, I do want to send myself some of these stories for Monday. Okay. So I wanted to cover this. That is something. I want to listen to that one more time in a second. And I also want to cover Murkowski might leave and says Trump resign. Okay. I definitely want to be covering those stories on Monday. Let's listen to this one more time. I see some people saying this is a joke. I mean, I can't tell. I don't know. It could be a joke. The problem is, at this point, This has all been indistinguishable from parody. So this could be a complete joke, or it might be someone who has all of a sudden realized Trump's been lying for 4 years.
Tammy's in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Tammy. What are your thoughts about today?
I just have one question. I wanted to know if my president lied to me today. And if he did, I want him to tell me. And more importantly, I want him to tell the family of the woman that got shot and killed today. I voted for him. I voted for him. I'm sorry.
It's Tammy in Boise.
Okay. I mean, it's very interesting. That just as easily could be a joke as it could be real. I mean, I really have no idea. But a lot of people were absolutely conned by this president. Okay, I have some clips from Tucker's show last night to look at. We'll get to that in a moment. Let me just quickly say thanks to the 6 folks who just grabbed Twitch Prime subs, putting us at 68. And then the additional 5 people who signed up at joinpacman.com, putting us at 73. I see people are trying to call me right now, but the phone lines are not open at this point. I am up to opening the phone lines. We've got a very sensible goal of 100, and then we can look at opening those up. The coupon code is working. I see people telling me the coupon code is not working. The coupon code's working fine. It's user error, okay? User error. The coupon code only works at joinpacman.com. It seems people are trying to use the coupon code on Twitch. That doesn't work. Doesn't work. This is a good question. Will Trump pardon any of the rioters? You know, he can't pardon anybody unless he knows who to pardon. And that's why it may take some time to get all of the rioters charged. And that could actually prevent Trump from pardoning them. So that's pretty compelling. Morris says ginger ale, root beer. Ginger is a type of root. Ale is a type of beer. So is ginger ale a type of root beer? Fantastic. Fantastic question. Joe Rader says that Chamath Palyapidia says Tesla will go another 2 to 3x from here. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm either going down with the ship or I'm, what's the opposite of going down with the ship? Just staying afloat? I don't know. But yeah, I'm in. And who knows what it is that will happen as far as that goes. Okay, let's get to some of these clips from Tucker Carlson from last night. Let's make sure we get all of them in as close to high definition as we can. Here is part of Tucker's monologue. Then we'll get to a bit of an interview with, I guess Marco Rubio. I've been advised that we should be looking at this. All right, let's take a listen. Here's Tucker.
So right now, serious people are upset about what happened yesterday in Washington. They want to figure out exactly what happened, and they want to know why it happened. But none of the people who should be asking are asking. Instead, they're taking the opportunity to mock the people who were there.
That's not true. That's completely untrue. I mean, my coverage and that of much of the corporate media reporting I've even seen is a combination of how did this even happen? What exactly was law enforcement thinking? How did this end up taking place? And the fact that Trump and his cronies incited it, and the fact that these people need to be held accountable and take personal. I mean, no, that's absolutely not true.
Because they're from the wrong social class.
Oh, Kim. There are people who flew on a private jet to participate in the insurrection. This is social. Now all of it. See, this is we talked about this yesterday and it's happening again. This is the issue with this faux populism. Or it's not faux populism. The populist rhetoric on the left and right that gets very mixed up and jumbled, like it's in a clothes washer. Tucker has this populist rhetoric, and that's how he ends up having people on who are left populists, and they're all getting along, and it's just all great. These people, they both think they're using each other, and in fact, it's just a mess. No, just no.
As events unfolded yesterday, one CNN anchor, who, by the way, is the son of a Vanderbilt, which is relevant.
Oh, now he's talking about Anderson Cooper.
You may have the blue jeans, made it explicit. Trump supporters are bad because they eat at lowbrow restaurants.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other for this deplorable display of completely unpatriotic, completely against law and order, completely unconstitutional behavior.
So far, Anderson's exactly right. Let's listen.
It's stunning, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks, and they're going to talk about the great day that they had in Washington, and they really did something and stand up.
I mean, listen, okay. I mean, maybe saying Holiday Inn and Olive Garden is an attack, but he's actually right in the greater point, which is they believe that this is a victory. That's the greater point. They believe this is a victory. Yeah, it's a bit condescending. Olive Garden's a disaster. I agree with that. And it's not a financial thing. And I've always said this before. Olive Garden's not super cheap. There are places that cost the same as Olive Garden, but they're good. It's more of a cultural thing than I think it's more of a cultural thing than a financial thing. I think Olive Garden is a disaster. I like the attack on Olive Garden. That I like, I have to tell you. And it's not a financial thing. You can find, I mean, look, in D.C., Olive Garden and a local Italian place, you're talking about a very similar price range. Not the most expensive Italian place. Olive Garden is a disaster. And I will stand by that. Okay. Anyway, I think the greater point, it's condescending. It's true. But the greater point here is that Anderson is right that they view this as a success. They're going to go and have drinks, probably with no masks on, and think that they scored a victory here. And that's a real problem. That's scary.
For something, and they stood up for nothing other than mayhem.
It's just class war by another name, and never has it been more clear than in that clip. By the way, how much do you appreciate the lecture on patriotism and law and order from CNN?
Well, Tucker gives those lessons and lectures all the time. See, this is what's very interesting, because Tucker is maybe Tucker's right that it's condescending to say Olive Garden and what did he say? The Hilton Garden Inn or whatever Anderson Cooper said. That maybe that's condescending. It's certainly not going to bring anybody who's not already on Anderson's side over to it. That I would absolutely concede. But Tucker Carlson does something that is arguably even more pernicious, which is he pretends. So let me see how to word this the right way. Tucker, I believe, is also the heir to something. And Tucker does this pernicious populist rhetoric, which then he gets to solutions that are like, so we got to do something to prevent Black Lives Matter from taking your house and brown immigrants from making us a poor and dirty country. Right. So what Anderson Cooper said is just flat out condescending and probably unproductive, although generally speaking, I agree with the Olive Garden comment. What Tucker does is pretend that he is the opposite by using this faux populist rhetoric and actually tricking his audience. So I don't know. I would argue what Tucker does is far worse. Anderson's comment is a plain comment. Anderson's a rich guy, and he sort of made a condescending comment about Olive Garden. Okay, that's it. It's fully exposed. He's not using faux populist rhetoric to trick people and then giving them horrible solutions to their problems that tend to be about, the things that Tucker suggests. Tucker's doing something much more insidious, I would argue. Okay, anyway, let's continue.
Did you appreciate that? Hope so. But the point is there are two standards, one that applies to you and the other that applies to the pasty, pink-haired Antifa rioters. They can do whatever they want. They, of course, will go back to SAG.
By the way, is that productive? Pasty, pink-haired Antifa rioters? And this was a Trump riot.
Harbor at the end of the day and stay with their parents is totally fine. But Trump supporters, they're insurrectionists. They should be hunted down.
Tucker's doing the same thing, right? I mean, that's a class attack. That's a class attack. Saying that the left-wing protesters don't have the finances to be out on their own. That's the exact attack. Am I missing something here? There's 20 seconds between Tucker attacking Anderson for saying Olive Garden, and he makes the exact same attack that the left-wingers are unemployed living in their parents' basement. This is so stupid.
Today, CNN unveiled a Soviet-style enemies list to make it a little easier to find all those Trump supporters and then destroy them.
And next, we will roll the tape on all of the president's enablers who have all helped to fuel the deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol.
Man, that is a Jeff Zucker order if there ever was.
It's actually from the FBI. The FBI said we need to identify these people. So that's a really, really stupid commentary by Tucker Carlson, wherein he starts to get to a kernel of a fair criticism that Anderson's comment was condescending, but he does something far worse every day. But then he does the exact same thing he's criticizing Anderson for. So that's really weird. And then there's this other one I've been told is worth watching. This is, sorry, hold on. People want to be thanked. 1826. All right. So we've got +7 as far as Twitch goes, which puts us at 80. And then 24. Okay. So that's another 4 on the website, putting us at 84 members. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Wait, 84. There it is. Perfect. Okay, let's do let's go to this next clip. This is Tucker last night. I guess a very short, a 4-minute interview with Marco Rubio. Let's listen.
Rubio represents the state of Florida, now the most popular state in the country, we notice. He joins us tonight after having watched all of this. Again to you, Senator. By the way, thank you for coming.
Oh,
what do you make of it?
Terrible.
What do you make of all
It's one of the, well, I think it's one of the saddest days in our modern history, probably in our history. I think it doesn't. I think they're high-fiving in Beijing, and the Chinese look at this and are very happy about it. It kind of bolsters their claim that we're falling apart and they're the country of the future.
Fair. So far, so good.
I think it's inexcusable, completely 100% excusable. I don't care what the motivations are. And then obviously, people are going to get arrested. We're going to learn more about who was there and what this was all about. And I think it'll be interesting to see.
Is this confusing to Tucker? Tucker already looks confused. It's weird.
Sort of the mix of people that were there and so forth. I think it's been tragic. And I want to say something. I want to thank the Capitol Police officers. We know a lot of these people personally. We walk by them every single day who had to go out there and do this. And we're really undermanned for, overwhelmed by this at one point in time. But and so none of it is an excuse. Now, I do think that one of the challenges we have is we have a serious crisis of confidence in this country. There is now literally no individual or institution in this country that can speak definitively about anything.
Well, but hold on. We can definitively say Joe Biden won the election. See, this is where they speak in coded language where anybody can take away from this what they want. That's right. That Marco did get. So depending on what you want to listen for, if you still want to keep Marco on your nice list, right? What you're hearing is, oh, he's saying this all happened because we can't actually trust the election results. That's what you hear. And you're arguably not wrong because he's deliberately wording it and using a statement that you could interpret in exactly that way, if that's what you mean.
And that's not an excuse for any of this, but it explains some of the things that create.
Typically, when you say it's not an excuse, you're making an excuse.
An environment that lead to this all across the board. And the media is shocked, that they have zero credibility. They're
there. Oh, and then he throws that in. Yeah, that's actually one that's been spread. So he's really hitting all the bullet points that they've come up with for the last 24 hours, which is a lot of the problem is the media reporting on the riots, right? I mean, okay, listen, Trump's been inciting people for 2 months about a stolen election. And then he literally said at 12:30, we're going to march to the Capitol. And then at 1, they marched to the Capitol. But the media reporting on this stuff, that, there's been irresponsible reporting there. So this is the playbook they've developed over the last 24 hours.
Viewed largely as biased. Then you have the censoring of news stories before an election by the social media companies. And then you have these questions that in normal.
I'm guessing he's talking about, does that mean the Hunter Biden story? Is he making the case that the Hunter Biden story was censored? Is that the case? I mean, it's like just about everybody looked into it and it was without merit. So at some point, how long are you going to report on that story?
Normal times people would look at and be able to work through, but in that environment of lack of confidence really sparks up. And I think those things need to be answered because democracy doesn't just depend on having elections. It depends on people's confidence in those elections,
right,
and their willingness to abide by those results. They're interrelated. I don't know why the
So here, I mean, listen, he's defending. This is Marco Rubio getting as close as he can to codedly defending the riots while saying out of the other side of his mouth that violence is always bad, right? He's saying these are the direct results. When what really matters is that we have elections people can trust, because when they don't trust them, this is what happens. But violence is bad. The violence is bad, and it was a really sad day. But listen, we can't trust any institution. And when you don't trust the institutions, then this is what happens, and that's logical, but it's bad.
Can't do Watergate-style, Titanic-style hearings. We could take testimony, subpoena records. It wouldn't change the outcome of this race, but it would give people the clarity, the answer. And by the way, the changes that we need to make. When I was in Florida in the legislature, I served on a task force after 2000 that made a bunch of changes to the mechanics of our elections. And I think we could do that for the country.
I wondered all day what Republicans in the Senate made of this. So people came to your place of work, and I'm not attacking you personally. I am really despised by an awful lot of people. And every once in a while, I think to myself, they have good reason to despise me. Maybe I can communicate differently. I mean, it should evoke some soul searching in the person who's despised a little bit. And I wonder if Republican senators are thinking to themselves tonight, I hate the vandalism, I hate the violence, I hate all this crap. On the other hand, a lot of my voters really hate me. Maybe I should change the way I behave. Do you think anyone's thinking that?
Well, I certainly think there's two things that have to happen. First, we have to...
It's actually kind of an interesting question. Sounds like Marco's not going to answer it from his first 5 words here.
Firmly say that this stuff's not acceptable. It just can't happen. I mean,
I couldn't agree more.
I'm not going to answer.
We look like the third world. I mean, honestly, we look like the third. I mean, this is stuff that you see in another country. We've got tin pot dictators out there lecturing us. And
Trump's a wannabe dictator, and he's talking about other. I mean, that's actually pretty wild.
Mocking us, in their Twitter feeds and online. So that stuff can't happen. The second thing I would make is at some point, everyone's got to step back here and realize that this has been brewing and building for a while, and it's all across the board.
No, it's not really across the. No, see, so right. So this is the last page of the playbook for the last 24 to 48 hours, which is, let's just denounce everything and say that this has been building everywhere. No, this specifically was precipitated. If Donald Trump, remember, at 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning, the night of the election, Donald Trump came out and said, I won. What? You won? And it's been downhill from there. The Rudy Giuliani, the flatulence, and him, potentially passing COVID by flatulence, and Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis. And, it's just been humiliating ever since, culminating with let's go to the Capitol. So it's not. It's been building, but this is a very specific event. And of course, it's built on pseudo-intellectualism and anti-intellectualism, lack of media literacy, lack of education, people who don't understand. Wait a second, these claims are idiotic. Of course, the election wasn't stolen. But this is, so now it's like, we got to come together and denounce it all.
And there are real factors out there that are contributing not just to an erosion of confidence and trust in America, but some of the rhetoric. You made a point, and I caught the tail end of it, and it's absolutely right. There is no such thing as a country in which, half of us are very happy and the other half is very unhappy. It can't work. None of us is going anywhere. So we're going to have to figure out a way to coexist. That's always been the challenge in America, a country that covers.
Now it's all about coexisting. Okay. And then lastly, let's get to the Dan Crenshaw one. He also appeared.
So we want to.
Where did he appear? He appeared with Martha McCallum. We'll get to that in a moment. So this is, these are. Everybody's playing exactly the role we would expect them to play. Thanks to Moose Stuff and the other 4 folks who just signed up via Twitch. I really do appreciate that. And then also thanks to Morton Damsleth and Carl Merritt, who signed up at joinpacman.com, putting us at 91. We are close to opening the phone lines. If folks want the phone lines opened, we are getting dangerously close at 91 out of 100 website members. Let's listen now to Martha McCallum's interview of Dan Crenshaw. And I've been told I haven't watched any of these in advance. I've been told that he made some actual okay points here. Let's see.
To bring this to you now, as Republican senators who objected to the Electoral College count now face a fury of some on the left who are making a dramatic leap, linking them to violence. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted this, quote, Senator Cruz, you must accept responsibility for how...
Dramatic linking them to violence. How is that? It's obvious. How is that dramatic?
Your craven, self-serving actions contributed to the deaths of 4 people yesterday, and how you fundraised off this riot. Both you and Senator Hawley must resign. If you do not, the Senate should move for your expulsion, she says. Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas joins me now. Congressman, always good to have you with us. Thanks for being here tonight. So that's just one. I mean, you've got Joaquin Castro, Beto O'Rourke, Representative Joe Moody, Tellerico, all of these government officials making very similar statements, calling them seditionists and saying there's blood on their hands, essentially.
Yeah, let me be as clear as possible here. So Senator Cruz and Hawley, I disagree with them in a fundamental way about the constitutionality of this process on January 6th, the ability of Congress to overturn any electoral votes, period. But let's be very honest. Senator Cruz and Senator Hawley were not hyping up January 6th. They were not calling for people to fight in the streets. They were not saying this was our last stand.
Right. But so what Dan Crenshaw misses here, we have to go back to what Justin Trudeau said, who said it perfectly. Cruz and Hawley created the space for Trump to do what he did. And you don't have to, this is not like chaos theory where a butterfly flapping its wings in China creates a hurricane in Florida, right? This is not that type of stuff. This continued to build because people started bowing to the pressure of Trump to challenge results. When Josh Hawley said, I plan to stand up and object, then Ted Cruz said, I plan to stand up and object. And that gave Trump the momentum to go to Georgia on Monday night and to talk about the objections and to pressure Pence and to then go to a rally on Wednesday morning knowing the objections were going to come and to say that they're going to march to the Capitol. So the idea that Cruz and Hawley bear no responsibility in the incitement is wrong because they fomented Trump's behavior. If every Republican simply says no, you don't get this riot because Trump doesn't do what he did. So I think that Dan Crenshaw is either misunderstanding or being disingenuous here.
And that being said, many members of Congress did do that. Many commentators did do that. Many in the media have been doing that for the last few weeks, constantly saying this is our time to fight. And let me tell you something very clearly. They've been lying to people. They've been lying to millions.
Okay.
They've been lying that January 6th was going to be this big solution for election integrity. It never was going to be. I mean, 2 hours of debate, forced 2 hours of debate, that was just some time for some opportunistic politicians to get 5 minutes of time on the floor.
True, very true.
It was never going to solve anything, and it was always unconstitutional. You have to have these hard battles won at the state level. That's where the hard work is done. That's how you solve the important question of election integrity. And they lied to people and they said, go fight. Go fight because everything's on the line. That's what they said. And when people fought, they came to fight and then they fought.
Everything he's saying is right. I just disagree that the Republican senators are guiltless here. I think everything he's saying applies to Cruz and Hawley and everybody who gave space for this to build.
Fought Capitol Police and now people are dead. And those same members of Congress who called people to fight, well, they were nowhere to be found because it was all fun and games to them. They never knew what a real fight was. Real fights are scary. Bullets flying, that's scary. The glass breaking, that's really scary. They were nowhere to be found. They scattered. They'd been talking about the courage to stand up to this, the courage to fight for weeks and weeks, but when it came down to it, there was no courage. That's what really happened, Martha, and that's what people need to know. They were lied to. They were lied to about what January 6th was.
That's true, but listen, Cruz was on, where was it? I don't know if it was Ted Cruz being interviewed by Laura Ingraham or what it was. Cruz was actually saying January 6th could be something. So Crenshaw's analysis is essentially correct, except that he says Cruz and other senators weren't participating in it. They were. They were absolutely participating in it.
Election integrity is important. It has been important to me since the day I entered Congress. But I know that I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you where we actually have to do the hard work. And we have to change these laws at the state level because these laws are loose. They don't give people any confidence. People are getting ballots that don't belong to them. There's no voter ID, no signature verification. We hear you. We hear you, but we have to come together and work at the state level and change these things.
I don't think it could be said any better than that. Congressman Crenshaw, thank you.
All right. So, he makes some fair points. The things he wants to see done at the state level are essentially bogus. And he's wrong that the senators didn't have a role to play. So that's sort of like that's kind of the summation of the entire thing. And by the way, yes, as has been pointed out, have you seen a picture of Dan Crenshaw's district? if you want to get a sense of problems with election integrity, Dan Crenshaw district. Look at this. This is Dan Crenshaw's district. Okay. Is that a compact district? Right? So if you want to fix things at the state level, don't you have to fix this? I mean, this is just lunacy. This is complete and total lunacy. So anyway, the things he wants to fix at the state level, I don't know. I don't know that that's something that that he wants to fix necessarily. But anyway, okay. Listen, we listened to Dan Crenshaw, and that was his perspective. I do want to say thanks to the 19 folks who just grabbed Twitch subscriptions, which puts us at 110. And also with the addition of Terry Lilly, Tanika Savage or Savage, Shane Simpson, Pam Jones, and Wesley Chisholm, we are at 115. So I will open up the Discord lines a bit and hear from a few folks. I do want to hear from some folks. You can get a hold of me by going to davidpakman.com/Discord and getting in the waiting lobby. Once again, putting a parenthesis at the front of your name will get you skipped over. It's a cheap tactic to get your name at the top of the list. I don't go in order anyway. I'm bored and annoyed by the use of parentheses to put yourselves at the top of the list. So we skip those. Those are skipped right away. Let's go to, I see everybody now changing that. Very, very interesting. Let's go to Robin from Scotland. Robin from Scotland, you're our first caller today.
Hi, David.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. I don't actually have anything to ask. I just wanted to weigh in on the juice debate.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. The soda. What is soda called in Scotland?
Yes.
You're breaking up a little, Robin, but I do want you to clear it up.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I call it fizzy juice mostly, but I do know a lot of people that call it ginger as well.
Right. So I would go and say I want a Coke ginger, or I want a Fanta ginger, or I want a root beer ginger.
No, you just say, like, if it is something specific, you say, like, I want a Fanta or a cola or a Sprite. But if it's just like everything in general, you call it fizzy juice.
I see. So when you go to the fizzy juice aisle, there is Coke, there's Sprite, there's 7-Up. All of that stuff would be under the category of fizzy juice.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I understand that. Now that makes sense. It's a little off, but it does sort of make sense. Now, just one other thing, just to complete the conversation we started yesterday with a different caller. When I say that thing at school where you drink water, do you call that a water fountain, a bubbler, a water bubbler, a faucet? What do you call that?
Probably just a water fountain.
A water fountain.
Usually.
Okay, very good. I like that. That's what I call it as well. All right, Robin, thank you. A real pleasure. I appreciate that. Thank you. So we cleared it up. And see, that was perfectly clear. I really understood that. That made perfect sense to me. All right, let's go next to, I know it's getting late for some folks, so let's go, for example, to Sophie in London. But Sophie, I'm guessing you have to go to bed soon, so I want to get to you right away.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, I actually don't plan on going to bed soon, but
Oh, all right. Well, then let me put you on hold for an hour, okay? No, go ahead, Sophie.
Thank you for picking up. I
Pleasure.
really enjoy your videos. It's fun to keep updated from across the pond. I was just wondering, I heard on the news today that, or it was an article that some Trump supporters were actually turning against Trump because he didn't, appreciate their act of loyalty by storming the Capitol. So I was just wondering if you think that's an actual trend that's going to happen, or if that's just...
I think that you're going to see a lot of everything. There's people abandoning, and you're seeing that happen with voters, and you're also seeing that happen with some of Trump's cabinet. But then there are people that are committed to going down with the ship. So like Betsy DeVos bailed, but there's 12 days to go. Who cares? On the other hand, Kayleigh McEnany seems to be devoted to going down with the ship. So you'll see examples of everything. I don't know that there's, not everybody will abandon him, but not everybody will stick with him. It's such a big country with so many people that there will be a little of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I actually studied American politics as part of my A level, so I wish I had discovered your videos when.
Tell me about A level. Is A level college?
I think so. So you take the actual exam when you're 18. I obviously didn't I was supposed to have taken it in May of 2020. But that was obviously cancelled due to COVID. So
maybe A level is more like AP classes in the US.
Possibly. I think is your GED. I think that's similar to GCSE here.
GED is an if you don't finish high school, you can study and take a GED test, which will give you an equivalency to high school if you've not actually gotten a high school degree. So it's basically like similar to a high school diploma.
Oh, okay. That might be more like a BTEC then. Anyway, I digress.
Wow. Are you for or against blood sausage?
Oh God, I have never had it.
Really?
Some people thoroughly enjoy it though. So
are you vegetarian? Is that do you just not eat meat? You're not vegetarian.
Definitely not.
Oh wow.
I don't think I've ever. I don't know. I think people think that's a very British thing, but you don't really. Maybe in the odd full English you might find that.
Blood sausage is actually huge in Argentina.
Oh. That's interesting.
Oh, wait a second. Am I calling it, is it black pudding? Am I using the wrong name for it?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Okay. Yeah. But even as blood pudding, you've still not had it.
No, I have seen it and some people do enjoy it, but I can't personally say that it's something I'd be wanting to try.
That's completely fair. Yeah. I don't eat pork anymore, so I'm off the blood sausage, but as a kid, I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I loved it as a kid.
Maybe I should try it out then.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sophie, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thanks for talking to me today.
All right. Very good. Very, very strong call. Let's go next to, is this Andrew from Charleston, South Carolina, or Andre? I can't see the full name.
Oh, that's me.
How are you?
Hey. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Whoa. Hey, man, I just wanted to jump on. I saw you were doing a live stream. I've been listening for a while.
Thank you.
Probably about 6 years now. I've loved the show.
Wow.
Became a member probably like last year when you were having all those issues with YouTube and you were losing a bunch of revenue. So
thank you.
I could give you a hand.
Appreciate it.
So I got a question for you just kind of about the future of what's going on in the country here. It seems like things are kind of getting really aggressive.
Yes.
Like very quickly. And it seems like it's not going to stop. Like that this seems to be a beginning point unless, people in power start to really shift their attitudes and start doing something like actually bringing justice and making people accountable.
I agree with you. And that's why it's so important that, now we're starting to hear about people getting fired after they've been identified by their employers. By the way, how funny is it that there's people worried about being microchipped with a COVID vaccine to be tracked, and then they wear their work badge to the insurrection? So that's funny. But I think, the arrests have to happen. The firings have to happen. Ideally, as close to unanimous denouncement of what took place by all leaders should happen, because otherwise they'll just do it again. They'll be encouraged to do it again.
Yeah, I think so. And one other thing, I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I actually was kind of close to where they had that big shooting that happened at that AME church,
right?
With Dylan Roof.
Yes.
That's always something that's kind of in the back of my mind is like, these mass shootings kind of like happening again and kind of coming back up. Do you think that, like, with the increase in violence that we're going to start seeing, that we have already seen, is this going to make any movement in terms of gun control? Like, is Biden going to finally do something in this country?
No, I worry that what has taken place is, one of the things that I'm predicting is that as Republicans want to distance from Trump, they will go back to all of their normal pet projects, which include pretending to care about the debt and deficit, focusing on their very narrow, myopic view of what religious freedom means, and talking about how Democrats are coming for your guns. And, something that's very, very interesting is that, and disgusting, Democratic presidents are great for gun sales. And the reason that they're great for gun sales is that you see Republicans and the gun lobby encourage gun purchases because the Democrat is just 5 days from taking your guns. And so you got to go out and buy them. And we saw record gun sales under Barack Obama. And yeah, I mean, I think that I think it's going to be it's not, I don't expect to see much progress on gun control, unfortunately, but I hope that I'm wrong.
Yeah, that kind of scares me. I mean, especially going into the first year of Joe Biden, that, I mean, a lot of these crazies now they're still just as crazy, and they're going to get themselves armed, and now they're just going to be aggressive, and they're going to continue to get aggressive and continue to push the limits, it seems. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one walking around with all these crazies. I mean, especially down here in the South, like everyone around here has a gun. It's just,
yeah. I mean, but and you know what? I know a lot of people on the left, and I've said before, I'm not really talking about my own relationship to firearms because I just don't think there's any advantage to it. But I'll make it a sort of abstract thing. There's a lot of people on the left who don't want it to be just the right wingers with the guns and have armed themselves over the last year as well.
Yeah, my brother, that's the same argument he gives me. He's kind of like a left winger, like liberal like me, but he is a staunch gun owner. And I'm like, man, I wish it was some other way, but I don't see any path forward other than, can we do
it's unfortunately a race to the bottom. It's unfortunate. It's sort of like a nuclear arms race, right? Where you say, well, I'd rather there be fewer guns, but they have so many, we should get some too. And then it's a very similar mechanism.
Yeah, just too many exist. Like at this point, it's like you're not going to be able to remove all of them from America at this point.
And that's a factor in talking about police as well. Hey, we would love it for not all police to carry firearms. Maybe you just have a special squad, like in some countries. Well, when there's 350 million guns out there in the hands of civilians, how do you say, well, the police shouldn't have them? You have to deal with the gun ownership problem first.
Yeah, it's like a tangled mess.
It is, yeah.
But man, thanks for taking my call today. Love the show. I'll keep tuning in.
All right, beautiful phone call. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's go next to there's just so many people here to talk to. I want to try to, a lot of folks I recognize. I'd like to get to some new voices if at all possible. We have, let's go to Jose from Miami, Florida.
Hey, David, can you hear me?
I can. It would be good if you can silence your Discord so we don't hear the Discord blinging throughout the call.
Okay.
I believe do not disturb is the feature you would like.
Which feature? Sorry.
Go ahead, Jose. Maybe we can get to maybe it won't go off and we can get to your question. It might be simpler than finding the button.
Okay. Sorry, but I have family members that are in QAnon and all of that.
They're in QAnon, did you say?
No, into the theories.
Into. Okay, yeah.
I'm wondering if impeaching Trump is the best solution, considering that there's some regarding.
Oh boy, Jose, I'm sorry, Jose. You're breaking up. You're coming through in fits and starts. You're saying you're unsure about impeaching Trump. I'm guessing because it'll fire up the QAnon people.
Yes, basically. Sorry if I can. Sorry.
I addressed that earlier. I think that impeachment is a duty. It is not something you calculate. I think that it has to be handled in those terms. And it is relatively rare that a president does something worthy of impeachment. And when they do, we don't say, well, it's kind of the end of the term, or the QAnon people might get mad. It's if impeachment is appropriate, it is a duty to impeach. Okay. All right. Jose, I'm going to let you go because I actually think that connection is illegal in some states. Florida, it is legal, fortunately. So you've not broken any laws, but it's pretty scary stuff. Let's go next to why don't we go? Let's go to it's either Levy or Levi from Washington. Levy Levi from Washington, you're on the air.
Oh, hello, David.
Yeah, it sounded like you just spit in a bucket. Do you have a spit bucket?
No, I don't.
Sounded like a spittoon, like a cartoon noise of a spittoon.
I see.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, David. Hey, big fan of the show. Thank you for your coverage.
Pleasure.
I'm in a deeply red area of Washington State, so it kind of helps keep me sane to watch your show and realize there are rational people out there.
Thank you.
Anyway, I don't really have too much to say as far as topical, but I would weigh in on. I have an opinion on what makes a sandwich.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think it's only a sandwich if you slice the bread.
Nah, I don't think that works. I don't think that works because I've never heard anyone deny that a grinder or a sub or a hero, depending on where it is that you live, is not a sandwich. And very often you're only partially slicing into the roll. Hello?
True.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a half slice in that case.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not sure I'm liking your definition.
Well, I had to try.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where you kind of know it when you see it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, the other thing is, by the way, open-faced sandwich, right? I mean, like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it's just a pile of stuff on a piece of bread.
Yeah, and also by your definition, a quesadilla, in a sense, is a sandwich, too.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've got to we got to continue workshopping it.
Yeah, I'll do more research.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, call me back.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks very much.
Take care.
Really, it's a controversy. I don't know that it's really one for the ages. I don't know that it'll ever be resolved. This is kind of interesting. I'm curious about this. Let's go to Bitdefender from Cancun, Mexico. You're on the air.
Hello, David.
Yes, how are you? What do you mean Bitdefender? What is the deal with that?
That's it's a bit hard to explain, but I keep it for anonymity reasons.
It's your handle, we can say.
Yeah, exactly.
And you really you live in Cancun?
Yeah, I'm a public servant in Cancun. I was born here.
Did you say you're a public servant?
Yes.
You're like an elected official down there.
Not elected, but I serve the government in many ways.
Wow. Yes. Well, thank you for your service. What can I do for you?
I actually had a question. Perhaps a bit...
Hey, I have to ask. The chat is wondering: are you hitting yourself in the head with a mallet right now?
No.
You're not. Okay. All right. Go. There's a very
like
strange. It sounds almost like a percussive wood block.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really not sure what that is.
No, it's very interesting. It's very
Perhaps.
interesting.
Oh, I think it's the Discord thing for the push to talk, actually.
Oh, dear God. Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll just keep. Anyway, the question is the Mexican president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, is commonly often compared to Bernie Sanders in many ways.
Yes.
Both by U.S. and Mexican analysts. So I don't agree with that comparison for multiple reasons, but I would like to hear your opinion on that if you have any.
I'd be lying if I said I know enough to be able to compare in detail, but my instinct is that the comparison is probably not appropriate, and the reason why would be less about the specifics of Obrador, but more about the fact that Latin American leftism is quite different than sort of like American Bernie type social democracy. So my instinct would be that, like, at a systemic level, there's probably some non-trivial differences.
I would definitely agree. Actually, many Mexicans regard Andrés Manuel López Obrador as a leftist Mexican version of Trump, right?
Oh, I've not heard that.
No, yeah, because it's essentially the same populist tactics, lying to the public, creating a grand narrative, and then being completely incompetent at governing the country itself.
Yeah.
But, I guess some people are too much interested in making a comparison along the traditional right-left, spectrum.
Let me research more and so I could be better informed about it.
Absolutely. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, real quick. So I've been to Cancun many, many times, actually. I was told, when I stayed at my hotel, I found some restaurants in downtown that I wanted to try. And when we went to the hotel front desk and explained where we wanted to go, they seemed horrified, like tourists don't go downtown. But I went downtown and it seemed perfectly fine and safe. Is it that rare that tourists don't go downtown Cancun?
Well, it's not rare for tourists to go to downtown Cancun. Actually, the downtown part of the city has been ever more welcoming to tourists. However, I cannot lie in saying, in my line of work, I work with tourists that precisely have encountered problems, with either criminal activity or otherwise here. So ultimately, I know many, many cases of people that have had things stolen or worse. But that's probably a very, very small percentage of the total.
Interesting.
I'm probably very, very biased in that sense because
it's all you're dealing with.
My job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Interesting. And then last thing, every time I've been down there, there's always big concern about the water. Don't even brush your teeth with the tap water, etc. For the locals, are you biologically accustomed to the water where you can drink it?
It's a good question. We don't drink tap water in Mexico in general, like throughout the country. We don't have the systems that the U.S. has in place, like you put some element into the water. I think it's fluorine. We don't have that here. We drink, big bottles of 20 liters of water that we buy on a regular basis.
Got it.
And they get replaced, right?
Yeah.
In regards to hotel tap water, I guess it's really a roll of the dice. I've never heard of anybody getting sick from brushing their teeth. Usually it's, making the mistake of drinking the water thinking that it's just like in the US.
Right.
And they usually drink a lot of water. So that's, it's no surprise.
Yeah.
But some hotels have those systems internally in place, and they will have a little plaque that says that you can drink the tap water.
Well, I actually went to, are you familiar with the restaurant in the hotel zone, Puerto Madero? It's an Argentinian restaurant.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
When I was there, and of course I was chatting up with the waiters in Argentinian Castellano, they were saying that the entire hotel zone, or much of it, on Boulevard Cuculcan actually has a water purification system that you can actually drink the water up and down the entire thing. They weren't trying to get me to drink tap water, but they were mentioning it, and I don't know whether that's true or not.
I am doubtful at best.
Okay, so they may have been lying to me.
Yeah,
okay.
General system, I am very doubtful because I know how that is organized, and I really doubt that they use drinkable water for the whole hotel zone.
Now, Donald Trump warned us that under Joe Biden, we would have to flush the toilet 10 or 15 times. Is that a problem in Cancun?
Well, it might be for some tourists that come here and have some of the food.
Okay.
They're not used to it.
Understood.
Right.
All right. Very good. Okay. I really appreciate the call.
Yeah, same to you, man.
All right. Very good. And a boink to you as well. Very interesting cartoonish boink noise there. Apparently generated by Discord. Let's go to Jeeves in Anaheim, California. Jeeves.
David, how are you doing today?
How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Thank you.
First time caller, long time, I guess, watcher.
Pleasure.
So I appreciate you taking the call. I had a quick question. You were speaking earlier about, I guess, media literacy and being able to determine, I guess, what's good actual journalism versus I'm just entertainment posing as journalism.
Sure.
Being able to critically think between those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was wondering on your thoughts on things like the FCC fairness doctrine and whether something like that might, like bringing that back might help, or if it's, a bigger issue where it's like an education problem.
It's interesting. I've gotten a bunch of questions about the fairness doctrine in the last week. And I think that the opportunity for the fairness doctrine to fix the problems we have, that ship has sort of sailed, particularly because the fairness doctrine was focused on the airwaves and regulation of the airwaves. With the internet, you'd need a totally different infrastructure if that's your approach. But that is not the approach I would take. I would take an approach of cultural and educational change.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I guess a lot of us have been asking the question, like, how do we quote unquote fix this problem? How do we get people to like see what's going on? And to me, it really seems that it's we have to kind of prepare for this is going to be a long fight. There's nothing that's going to
exactly
like overnight change things.
And we just have to accept that it took 40 years to get into this mess. It's not going to be undone in 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have any percussive instrument you could play while you talk? A cowbell maybe, or a set of hi-hats?
I used to be a professional vocal percussionist for a a cappella group.
Interesting. Oh, that's interesting.
So I could do some like vocal percussion if that
works. What's the trick to that vocal percussion in a cappella groups?
So I'm sure when you were a kid, like you would just like make weird sounds with your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You basically do that, but as an adult.
Oh, okay. All right. I could do.
And then, yeah. So it's just like, yeah, that kind of like.
Beautiful. All right. We're going to remix that. All right.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks so much for the call.
Thank you, David.
That's Jeeves from Anaheim. Wow. Okay. Let's see who else we've got here. We're taking a few calls. Let's go to Alicia, who is Argentinian.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's Elisha. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Looks like Alicia. It's all good. ¿Cómo te va, David?
Me va bien. Now, I'm guessing. So you don't live in Argentina.
Yeah, I lived there. I grew up there for 6 years. My life.
No, but I mean, you don't live there now.
I'm going back there in a couple months for about 6 months.
Really?
Where'd you grow up there?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires. Okay, I grew up in Córdoba and Villa Las Rosas.
I've never been. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking of just once the whole pandemic is over, setting up shop there and setting up my studio and just doing 6 months in Buenos Aires. You know.
Totally do that.
Yeah.
So I had a question. Big fan, obviously. I'm probably gonna grab a subscription. I just can't not do that. You know.
It's impossible not to. It's impossible not to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, but I had a question. You know, I got into it after this insurrection coup attempt. You know, the other day. I got into it with my family, and I come from a super conservative family. I'm definitely the black sheep of the family. You know, but I got into it then, and I just wanted to know if you have suggestions for what you can do, and the best way is to interact with your family politically if they're completely on the other end of the spectrum.
I've answered this question for people who are in similar situations, and my advice is really, it depends on what you want your relationship with them to be like, honestly.
Yeah.
If you are okay ruining the relationship, then the answer as to how you talk about politics is one thing. If you want not to do that, then the answer is something else. And in general, I think the best way to talk about politics with family that disagrees in a way that is less likely to cause chaos with the highest chance of changing their minds is to just rather than making judgments and telling them that they're wrong, regularly ask them how they came to a certain belief, what would change their mind. And with some people, they will come to realize the foundation on which I built a lot of these beliefs is not so good.
Yeah, great advice.
And again, I've mentioned this book yesterday, and I'll mention it again. One of the great pieces of advice from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is let people think they came up with the ideas that you actually want to convince them of, because that is one of the things people are most likely to go with. If they say, I came up with this, that's much better than I had to admit I was wrong to someone else.
Yeah, true. Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. My pleasure. Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Very, very good. Similar to me, Argentinian who came to the U.S. At age 5. That's compelling stuff. Let's go to Edmundo from Lima, Peru. You know, Edmundo, I just watched, there's this great new Netflix show, Street Food Latin America. And yesterday I watched the episode on Lima. Hello.
Hi, David. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Wow, it's really awesome to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. In fact, my question was basically about our food.
Really?
To you. So the thing is this: we have like you know, we have really amazing food in Peru, like astonishingly amazing. We have like a great variety of I don't know how to say this, vegetables. I mean, food ingredients, right?
Yes, the base ingredients are very high quality.
Yeah. So in the last 6 months, we had 2 major protests here in Peru. One at November. I don't remember the exact date, but it was like 5th November.
Okay.
It was about the president. It's a really long story, but long story short, we had a president until November. Then he got kicked out by the Congress. The president of the Congress took the power, but the people didn't want that. So we went out to the streets, and we basically kicked him out. Right.
Okay.
So that was that. That's an entirely complete issue apart from what I was talking about. But the thing is that the second protest was made by labor people, people who worked on
labor activists.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you in Spanish. I know that you know Spanish. Eran trabajadores, agricultores.
Oh, okay. So yes, agricultural workers.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't sure about that word. So the thing is, about the protests in Lima, the media covered it like really, really tightly. We were supported by the media, which was kind of weird. But on the second protest, which was far on my side, it was far more important because these workers were paid far less than the minimum wage. So, I mean, we have like a minimum wage of 850 soles, right? So these people were getting paid like 700 soles, and considering extra hours of work, of labor.
Yes.
So it was like really, really serious, especially for us. We Peruvians are very proud about our gastronomy.
Yes.
So it was kind of weird in that second protest because the media didn't care. They just didn't care. We had a lot of people died on both protests, but on the first one, they were heroes. And on the second one, they were like rioters, like really bad people.
Yeah.
We shouldn't care. It was really hurtful, I would say. I feel ashamed of that kind of culture that we are having right now.
I understand. Yeah, I'm not familiar enough to say too much more other than that it would not be shocking to me that different groups of protesters are treated in different ways by the media. Sometimes the groups of protesters are also behaving differently, as we saw here in the United States. I don't know enough about it to be able to say much more.
Yeah, my question was about, because I kind of feel some similarities about what you were talking about the protests on the Capitol.
Yeah.
Versus the protests about Black Lives Matter, right? So what do you think would be the right approach, like on maybe talking to the people, like by social media, like I don't know if it's correct to just making sure that a lot of people know about the situation or maybe that's counterproductive. I'm not really sure what to do, like like myself, what to do to at least change that situation a bit.
You know, I'm not actually sure what situation. ¿Me puedes preguntar en español a ver si por ahí nos entendemos un poco mejor?
Sí, disculpa, mi inglés es un poco,
No hay problema.
un poco roto en ese aspecto. Te preguntaba de tal como la comparación entre la protesta en el Capitolio versus la protesta de Black Lives Matter.
Sí.
El hecho de que ambas protestas se trataran de maneras tan diferentes, al igual que acá, que en otras situaciones, como te menciono, dos situaciones diferentes, pero que también se trataron de dos formas completamente diferentes por la policía. ¿Cuál sería la mejor manera de hacer que la gente reconozca esas diferencias?
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So this is a good question, which is there are dramatic differences between the Black Lives Matter George Floyd protests and the violent insurrection, but there are some. I'm interjecting now my part of this. It's very cynical. There is a very cynical way in which we've seen some kind of make them the same, but also sometimes they're covered differently when in reality they are the same. The answer is huge. I mean, it just depends. It's a problem of changing the entire media apparatus in the United States, media literacy, education. It's not like, hey, if we get a hashtag going, everybody will understand what's going on. It's such a bigger issue than that. So I unfortunately don't have the answer, but you've perfectly identified the problem.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like I said, we are very proud of our gastronomy, like really proud. And the fact that the people that are the major actors on our gastronomy are being treated this way, it's really awful. So
that's horrible.
I know it's a different it's a different scenario, but I kind of thought that we could talk about that. So thank you.
Listen, I appreciate it. I have one quick question for you. Some people may or may not know that in Peru, there has been significant, when you look at Asian immigration to Latin America, Argentina, for example, tended to have more Chinese and Korean immigration, whereas Peru had more Japanese immigration. I'm curious, is it considered that there is discrimination or racism against Japanese in Peru, or do you feel that there's sort of more natural integration into Peruvian culture? How is it?
Okay, so that's like a big question. Maybe I will have to speak Spanish for a part of it.
Okay.
I mean, the big part is this. We don't usually, there is no usually racism against foreign citizens, not Japanese. We have like a very strong African Peruvian community. So there is some discrimination, but that's not really the big part of it.
Okay.
The biggest part of discrimination in Peru, especially in the city where I live, which is Lima, is against the people from the Andes. I mean, we call it Sierra, but it's not really Sierra. It's the Andes and the mountains on Peru.
And are these indigenous folks?
Yeah, not really indigenous. I mean, some of the cities, like for example, Cusco, it's a really big city.
Yeah,
it's a really important city. We have Machu Picchu there, so the fact that they are big doesn't mean that the indigenous population gets treated better.
Okay.
We have this word here. You might have heard about it in Mexico. It means a lot different in Peru. The word is cholo.
Yes.
Right. So a cholo in Mexico, I have some Mexican friends, and they told me that it's like a street person.
Yes.
Like a burglar. I don't know. That's the Mexican approach. In our country, cholo means that you come from the Andes, but it is used like an insult.
Right.
If someone calls you cholo, it means like he really wants to hurt you because you look different.
Right.
Because you look like you came from the mountains, you're an indigenous.
Understood.
it's really hard, that part, because most of Peruvians, we have like a really big mix of races in Peru. So it's we have this saying in Peru. It's an Spanish saying. So quien no tiene de Inga tiene de Mandinga, which will mean like we all have some race mix in our blood. That will be like the meaning. And it's very hard for us, like mixed race guys like me. I am in fact like a bit Japanese. I'm not really sure if I have like a Japanese ancestor, but I like really Asian looking. But the thing is that, especially against the people from the Andes, it's really hard for them. I've seen so very awful things done to them, and it's not even funny to talk about them in a way that we try to learn. It's not even a human way to treat someone.
Understood.
So,
Understood. All right, good. I appreciate the information and really appreciate the call from Peru.
Thank you, David. Big
All right,
fan.
very good.
See you around.
Appreciate it. See you around. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, my friends. We are at the 2-hour mark. I plan to stream for 2 hours, and we've done it. I appreciate everybody who's joined me this week. I don't anticipate any weekend streams, but then we've got next week. And then, of course, then you know what's happening on January 20th, and we're going to be covering all of that. So thanks to everybody who joined, chatted. Make sure to follow me on Twitch. We've had our best 5-day period ever on Twitch. It's been the last 5 days. Make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, because then you'll be, I guess, notified about future streams, although it's not even clear that that works anymore. But I'll talk to everybody very soon.